What's up, everybody? Welcome back to A Journey to Self to become authentically you. I'm Nina, and today we're going into something that holds so many of us back: perfectionism. If you've ever found yourself hesitating to start a project, rewriting something a million times, or feeling like your creative work is never good enough to share, this episode is for you. I know this struggle personally. Perfectionism has been one of my biggest blocks, especially when it comes to creative expression. Whether it's putting my voice out there, launching a new project, or even sharing my personal thoughts, there's always been that little voice in my head asking, is this really good enough? And if you've ever felt that, trust me, you are not alone. But today, we're breaking free from that. We're going to explore where perfectionism comes from, how it creates blockages, and most importantly, how to stop overthinking and just create. Let's start by understanding where perfectionism actually comes from. Because trust me, we weren't born afraid of making mistakes. We weren't born overthinking every word we said or idea we made. So, where did this fear start? Many of us grew up with the pressures to do things the right way, whether it was in school, at home, or in our relationships. If we were praised only when we did things perfectly, we may have learned that mistakes equals failure. Sometimes it comes from having overly critical parents, teachers, or authority figures who made us feel like we had to prove ourselves. A huge reason we hesitate to express ourselves is because we fear how others will perceive us. What if people don't like what we create? What if they judge us? What if they think I'm not good enough? This fear can make us freeze up and avoid putting ourselves out there at all. With social media, we're constantly seeing someone's perfect, polished content, whether it's artists, entrepreneurs, or influencers who seem to have everything together. But the truth is, we're comparing our raw, behind the scenes work to someone else's final edited version. This makes us feel like we never measure up and we hold back. Does any of this sound familiar? If so, I want you to take a deep breath and remind yourself your work, your voice, your ideas are all worthy, and you don't have to prove anything. Now that we know where perfectionism comes from, let's talk about what it actually does to us. Because perfectionism isn't just an annoying habit, it's a creative killer. When you overanalyze every detail, you never actually start. You might spend more time doubting yourself than actually creating. Your inner critic gets louder, making it harder to trust your instinct. How many times have you had an amazing idea but talked yourself out of it? Perfectionism makes us procrastinate because we feel we're not ready yet. The truth is, you never feel 100% ready. You just have to start. Creativity should feel freeing, expressive, and personal. But when perfectionism takes over, it feels stressful and pressured. Instead of enjoying the process, you become obsessed with making it flawless. This can make you fall out of love with your own creative work. So, how do we break free from this? How do we shift from overthinking to actually creating? I'm going to share some practical ways to break through creative blockages and silence that inner perfectionist. The goal is to finish, not to make it perfect. Shift your mindset from this has to be perfect to this has to be complete. Remember, progress is more important than perfection. Think about your favorite artists, writers, or creators. Do you love them because they're perfect or because they're real? Imperfection makes art more relatable and human. Let yourself be messy. Let yourself be experimental. If you wait until something is perfect, you'll never put it out there. Set a realistic deadline for yourself and honor it. Give yourself permission to release imperfect work. Instead of worrying about how something will be received, focus on how it feels to create. Does it bring you joy? Does it help you to express yourself? That's what matters. If you're struggling to create because of pressure, try creating just for yourself. Write, paint, record, or build something with no intentions of sharing it, just for fun. When you remove external pressures, creativity flows a little more naturally. Whenever that voice in your head says, this isn't good enough, challenge it. Ask yourself, says who? Would you talk to a friend the way you talk to yourself? If not, rewrite the script. Before we wrap up, I want you to ask yourself, what's one creative project or idea you've been holding back on because of perfectionism? Now, I want you to make a commitment. Pick a deadline. Take a small step towards bringing it to life. And most importantly, remind yourself that it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. You are more than enough just as you are. Your voice, your work, your creativity deserves to be seen. So take the leap, trust yourself, and just create. Thank you for tuning into this episode of A Journey to Self to become authentically you. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send me a message, leave a review, comment, and share. Share it with someone who needs this as a reminder. Until next time, keep being authentically you.